现在的女生跟20年前的女生到底有什么区别？
What exactly is the difference between girls today and girls 20 years ago? Many people will surely say they are more realistic, more materialistic, lazier, and have higher standards. Actually, that's not it. Many people miss the crux of the problem. I, too long, have worked in bars, nightclubs, and KTVs for 3 years, worked as a fitness coach for 9 years, have been a short video vlogger for 4 years, almost 4 years, and have been a live streamer for exactly 2 years. I'll tell you what the difference is between girls today and girls 20 years ago. There's only one thing, and that is they refuse to admit they are aging. People nowadays have a big problem. They don't accept getting old. Whether they are 30, 40, or 50, even many 50-year-old women feel they are very young and still have plenty of time. This mindset of not admitting age is very different from girls 20 or 30 years ago. Girls 20 or 30 years ago, for example, when they reached 20, they might have been anxious to start a family, anxious to get married, anxious to build a household and plan for the second half of their lives. But girls nowadays generally don't feel they are old. It seems men and women are the same, generally not feeling old, including myself. I am 34 this year, almost 35, and I don't feel particularly old. Actually, to use an old saying, I'm already someone with one foot in the grave. At 30 or 45, live another 20 plus years, and you might reach a full 60-year cycle and be gone, but I don't feel old. I feel I'm still young. Refusing to admit age is an age bias that is common among both men and women. 20 or 30 years ago, people didn't feel this way. 20 years ago, when we looked at those aunts in their 30s and 40s, we felt they were quite old. Now, it seems that for people in their 30s and 40s, everyone doesn't think they are old, and they themselves certainly don't feel old. There's also the influence of some toxic chicken soup, toxic advice. Terms like middle-aged maiden, divorced princess, older girl. Divorced but still a princess, middle-aged but still a maiden, older but still a girl. Then what are teenagers? And things like little fairy, little princess. There are also some women in their 50s. I remember once I had a lady in my gym who was 48. It was Children's Day, and she posted on her social media, "Who says I can't celebrate Children's Day? Which girl doesn't celebrate Children's Day?" Her daughter was already in her 20s, yet she still wanted to celebrate Children's Day and wanted her husband to give her gifts and flowers. Is this a distortion of human nature or a decay of morality? Actually, there are girls today who aren't materialistic. There are non-materialistic girls, hardworking girls, and good girls. But generally, everyone has a mindset, not accepting age. This is the biggest difference from 20 years ago. Many people think girls today have become more materialistic, realistic, and have higher standards. Girls 20 years ago were just as realistic, materialistic, and had high standards. There were lazy ones too. Girls now haven't become lazier. They have become more resistant to admitting their age. This is a very important reason why they don't get married. Many girls don't feel old, so they aren't in a hurry to marry. Before, many girls were anxious at 20. Now, even at 40, she feels she is very young. I'm in my 30s, but I maintain myself well. I'm just like someone in their 20s. Many girls have this mindset, refusing to age, thinking that as long as I maintain myself well in my 30s, I'm as competitive as a little girl in her 20s, just as young and pretty. The key point is, compared to someone in their 20s, you have to plaster the wall, wear heavy makeup when you go out, while the little girl in her 20s has a face full of collagen. And then there are the internal organs and endocrine system. It's like a car. A new car has a new engine and everything. When you're a teenager, your endocrine circulation is good. At 30 or 40, your body has accumulated heavy metals, and physical degeneration is degeneration. Actually, having seen so many people and things, I feel that people nowadays just don't accept aging. Regardless of gender, there is this trend where everyone seems to think that being in their 30s is still young, the prime of life, so they're even less anxious to get married or find a partner. Not admitting age is their biggest problem, same for men and women. Do you think I'm right? In her 30s, she thinks she is still a flower. Many girls in their 30s always say, "I'm 18." If you ask a woman her age, she is forever 18. 19 this year, 18 next year, the year after she is still a flower, a rose, a jasmine, a trumpet flower, a rapeseed flower, a dried daylily. Do you think I've hit the nail on the head? Girls today just don't accept getting old. The core of the biggest problem lies here, and the biggest difference from girls 20 years ago lies here. Am I right? Tell me in the comments. Follow too long, and be a clear-headed person.
Sisters, we really need to understand the rules of the game, Jianghu rules. You can't just go out on blind dates thinking it's your God-given right to eat men's food and spend men's money. Some women really have faces thicker than the corner of a city wall. If you genuinely don't intend to sleep with someone, then don't go spending their money. Look at the situation. You wait for someone to ask you out, you eat well, drink well, and have a great time. After he's treated you to this whole round of dining and entertainment, and finally, when he wants to get down to the hardware softening engineering, getting physical/sex, you start playing dumb. What's going on? How long have we known each other? I'm not that kind of person. Oh, please, you're just pretending. This is called not knowing the rules of the game. If you really didn't plan on taking it that far, you should have had some boundaries when spending his money. You should have been clear in your heart. You have your standards, but when someone treats you to a meal, you should genuinely try to get to know them. What do you lose, right? You need to have a bottom line. At that moment, you accuse him of being sleazy and having no bottom line, yet you were happy to be treated. You were comfortable enjoying yourself. You had your fun, and then you pull the "it's not convenient" card. Why are you acting so coy and pretentious? As a woman, you need to be self-aware. Tell people how things stand. When men tell you in advance they want to stay overnight somewhere, unless the guy isn't normal, any normal man definitely has that in mind, right? I don't need to spell it out. I'm just here to let you meet more people and find the type you want. As for whether you can get along, whether your personalities match, or if it can last, firstly, it definitely depends on the man's character and conduct and also his performance that night. And secondly, it depends on the girl's level of cooperation and the compatibility of your two personalities. What? Can you blame the matchmaker? You need to have good character yourselves. Do you expect me to guarantee you'll have kids and guarantee I'll be your nanny too? You guys are giving me a hard time all day long.
近日有网友爆料，
Recently, a netizen broke the news about an offline matchmaking event in Hangzhou, Zhejiang, where the experience of a 39-year-old woman sparked widespread discussion on social media platforms. In the video, the woman, dressed exquisitely and with a tall figure, actively sought a partner among the men present, but was met with the cold shoulder from the entire room. She even got into a direct argument with a man due to her explicit criteria for a partner, making topics like age versus marital value and the realistic boundaries of partner selection standards once again the focus of public debate. The weather that day was slightly cool, but the woman wore a denim jacket paired with ultra-short shorts. Her simple outfit could hardly hide her dazzling looks and well-proportioned figure. Facing the single men present, she confidently introduced her bottom line for a partner. I hope my future partner owns a house and a car, has a monthly salary of no less than 50,000 renminbi, approximates $6,800, has no bad habits, can fully respect my lifestyle, and must understand me, cherish me, and tolerate me. As soon as these words landed, the scene fell into a brief, eerie silence. Several men looked at each other. Some shook their heads slightly, but no one stepped forward to strike up a conversation. At this moment, a man around 40 years old broke the deadlock and asked bluntly, setting aside these conditions for a moment, "How old are you this year?" When the woman candidly stated that she was 39 and almost 40, the atmosphere instantly became subtle. Oh my God, 39 years old? Asking for such high requirements at this age. Do you think someone earning hundreds of thousands a year would easily choose you? The man's straightforward questioning left the woman speechless for a moment, and the confidence on her face faded a bit, but she quickly adjusted her state to retort. Age is just a number. It cannot define a person's value at all. I have looks and a figure. I pay attention to maintenance, and I look no different from the post-90s or post-0S generations. What impact does this have? How could it not have an impact? The man immediately pressed on, his tone filled with incomprehension. Girls in their 20s are in the prime of their youth. Whether in terms of energy, fertility, or skin, there is a gap compared to your age. Marrying a wife is for living a life together. Are we supposed to offer you up like a flower vase? As the dispute escalated, The woman argued on reasonable grounds. I am financially independent. I have money, looks, and life experience. I'm not bad, am I? Whether I can have children or not is my own business and has nothing to do with you. Anyway, I didn't fancy you either. Whether you are excellent or not isn't up to you to say. It only counts if others recognize it. The man sized up the woman while giving his evaluation. Even if you have maintained yourself well, the age is a fact right there. Under equal conditions, most men will definitely prioritize choosing someone younger. With your conditions, I'd give you a 6 out of 10 at most. This sentence left the woman completely speechless. She turned her head away and stopped responding. Amidst the laughter of the surrounding onlookers, her matchmaking attempt finally ended with no one showing interest. Some netizens expressed that everyone has the right to pursue happiness, and setting partner selection standards is beyond reproach, but the premise is that they must fit reality. A 39-year-old demanding a monthly salary of 50,000 renminbi, approximate $6,800 plus a house and a car, inherently narrows the scope of partner selection significantly. Moreover, marriage involves a two-way choice. Overemphasizing material conditions makes it easy to overlook the compatibility of emotions themselves. Other netizens believe that age should not become a shackle binding women in marriage and love, and this lady's confidence and self-discipline are indeed worthy of affirmation. Data and reality both illustrate that the core of the marriage market is two-way screening and mutual adaptability. High-quality men, because they have a large space for choice, tend to balance emotional compatibility with realistic value. Meanwhile, women over 35, while adhering to their own standards, also need to face the market's objective consideration of age. This dispute has no absolute right or wrong, but it exposes a core issue. The essence of marriage and love is not a one-way screening, but a two-way journey toward each other.
And before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers from all around the world is a huge inspiration for us. Thank you so much.
男人想要放下一个人，
When a man wants to let go of someone, the pain is truly like having a layer of skin peeled off. Let me tell you, a man's letting go isn't simply putting something down. It is shattering himself into pieces and piecing them back together again. Look, if a man truly falls in love, what does he have to go through? During the day, he pretends like nothing happened, going to work as usual, joking and laughing as usual. But as soon as night comes, it's over. Two versions of himself start fighting. One is wondering if she'll come back, while the other maintains reason. Every night, he struggles with himself, suffering from repeated internal conflict. Cigarettes are lit one after another, and drinks are downed one after another. It's not about addiction. It's just that besides these things, he really doesn't know what else to do. His mind holds both the memories of your best times and the image of your back as you walked away without turning around. It plays like a movie, switching back and forth between these two scenes. It can really drive a person crazy. What's most fatal? It's that he has no way to start over. It's not that his standards are high, but that he can't get past that hurdle in his heart. His whole state of being is off. How can he be responsible for someone else? So, I sincerely advise some women, if you haven't planned for the long haul, never touch those men who feel deeply. When they love, they hold nothing back and leave no retreat for themselves. When you really want to leave, on the surface, it looks like he let you go, but in reality, that non-disturbance is exchanged by tearing himself apart behind the scenes. This kind of love is too heavy. If you can't handle it, never provoke it.
婚礼很多时候就是女人的一种
Weddings are often just a form of self-amusement for women. In reality, many men don't care, they really don't care that much. In the process of receiving DMs, I've encountered many men who just want a destination wedding. They feel like me going up to perform is like a monkey show. Many men feel this way. But women take this matter very seriously, feeling that, this is the most important day of my life, the most beautiful day. I want to hire 8 cameramen. I want the best makeup artist, I want to be dressed up beautifully. But honestly, in the eyes of men, this stuff is just like a monkey show. What is there to see? Of course, we can't rule out that some men do value this. Just this morning there was a long-time client who sent a DM. She has messaged many times before throughout the process of dating, getting engaged, and getting married. She is a very indecisive person, the kind who is quite sensitive and detail-oriented. The wedding is coming up right around Chinese New Year, and she and her fiancé are already engaged, but they got into a fight precisely because her fiancé doesn't value all the rituals. She wanted to book a slightly better venue, but her husband said it wasn't necessary, that it was too expensive, that good enough is fine, and that nobody cares. She said, I care. Why not spend this money? Just spend an extra 20,000 renminbi, approximate $2,750 to make me happy. Then they started arguing and she asked me to judge. I said, Sister, anyone who has ever attended a wedding should know that really, no one cares whether your wedding venue is beautiful or not. Good enough is fine. Make the food a bit better, make the party favors a bit nicer, that's better than anything. Really, when attending a wedding, when I go to a wedding, what everyone cares about most is really not how moving your vows are or the story of how you met. To put it bluntly, people who know you well already know how you met, and people who aren't close don't care either. It's just like watching some stranger skit online. When will the food be served? Is the food tasty? Can we get full? Yesterday a friend complained to me, saying they went to a friend's wedding banquet and came back feeling hungry, so they had to go eat some beef vermicelli soup themselves. That made me laugh to death. I said, you went to a banquet and didn't even get full? Right, some banquets are really terrible. This is the point that many people complain about. As for, like I said, whether you can get good photos out of it, no one cares. Many people go to take those very expensive wedding photos like travel photography. To be honest, a year after you get married, let's say a year or even just after 3 months, who is going to flip through your wedding photos every day when they have nothing to do? Is that person in the Photoshop even you? That's basically not you at all. Honestly, not that many people are paying attention. At this time, it's often just us women entertaining ourselves. Save this money. To be honest, those ceremonies and that pomp, unless your family is extremely wealthy or noble, in which case we can spend money without counting the cost, but if we are just ordinary people, a middle-class family, this money should really be saved where possible. To be honest, no matter how magnificent a wedding venue you use, who knows how many people have used it for weddings before? It's impossible for them to set up a scene specifically for you. That cost is too high, not something average people can afford. To put it plainly, the venues you use have been used by who knows how many people. Nobody cares. The banquets everyone eats are pretty much the same. Just don't cause any drama halfway through, start the feast quickly, say a couple of words, be obedient, and just let everyone eat quickly, eat well and drink well. Make the party favors a bit nicer, don't make them too low quality, and that's it. Really, no one cares. With this time, go take a few more photos at scenic spots yourself, take a few sets of artistic photos yourself, and save this money for us to spend slowly later. It's not like after getting married we have to blow all this money in one go. You are getting married with the intention of living a good life. Do you have to spend all this money right now? 20,000 renminbi, approximate $2,750. Spending an extra 20,000 renminbi, approximate $2,750. What couldn't we do with that? We could buy a bag. So I really hope, sisters in front of the screen, sometimes there is really no need to be so serious about this. If your family really doesn't lack this 20,000 renminbi, approximate $2,750, I believe you wouldn't argue or fuss about it. If you really lack this 20,000 renminbi, approximate $2,750, tell me what's the use of making it more magnificent? Anyway, I've pretty much persuaded that sister. I really hope other sisters in front of the screen, if you encounter similar problems like your husband not being invested, what is there to be invested in? Even though they say you only get married once in a lifetime, does that mean after this one time you won't live the rest of your days? You still have to live the plain days that follow. If you want to direct and act in it yourself, you can make one with AI, right? You post it on your moments, strangers won't really know, you just say we did it out of town, right? So, there's really no need to spend an excessive amount of money on this. Ordinary people don't need to spend a lot of money on this. Rich people, do as you please. Bye-bye.
Wait until you come to the People's Park Matchmaking Corner, and you'll realize that in many families with daughters, the whole family is mobilized to find a son-in-law. Moreover, they are almost all wealthy, beautiful, and capable daughters. Women between the ages of 25 and 40 are a dime a dozen. The number of women is 8 or 9 times that of men. This figure is quite scary. The requirements of these girls and their parents are incredibly precise and rigid. Height under 1.8 meters? Pass. No bachelor's degree or above? Pass. Job not in a state-owned enterprise, a big tech company, or a business owner? Pass. If you don't have a house and a car to back you up, you won't even have a chance for a face-to-face talk. On top of this, the personality must be gentle and considerate, and he must know how to care for people. His interests must be broad and interesting. He should be able to accompany her to exhibitions and go camping with her. Even the family background must be well-matched. Single-parent families are out, and it's best if relatives have respectable professions. To put it bluntly, it's not that there are too many girls, but that there are simply too few boys who catch their eyes. These girls have seen the world and are excellent themselves, so naturally, they set the standards for their partners very high. If even one criterion is not met, then it's a mismatch. No wonder there are piles of excellent women in these matchmaking corners, while men who meet the conditions have become a rare species.
当女生得知毕业于985的相亲硕士年薪只有30万
A master's graduate from a Project 985 university, top-tier Chinese university, felt that a suitor with an annual salary of only 300,000 renminbi, approximate 41,300 US dollars, was not worthy of her looks, so she immediately ended the date. I think this guy, just in terms of work, including the salary part, I feel it's probably just average. These two blind date participants started chatting very engagingly until the woman asked about the man's salary, at which point they instantly became strangers. When male guest Wang Xiao, with his academic background from Shanghai University, introduced his profession as an investment manager to female guest Xiao, it initially resonated strongly with her. Since Xiao, who herself had contact with the financial field, their initial communication was very congenial, extending from industry trends to city life, and the atmosphere was once very harmonious. What changed all of this was Xiao Hu's proactive inquiry about salary. This question became the turning point of their blind date, completely reversing the atmosphere at the scene. Then may I ask roughly what your current annual salary is? Averaging out over a year, probably over 300,000. Suddenly, the atmosphere became a bit cold. Facing the inquiry, Wang Xiao frankly admitted that he had just changed cities for work not long ago and was in the early stages of his career. This answer caused Xiao Hu's attitude to change immediately. Her original enthusiasm cooled down instantly. Not only did she stop sharing proactively, but her eyes also began to dodge his, and the atmosphere at the table fell into awkwardness. She, who had been talking incessantly just a moment ago, suddenly became taciturn, cherishing her words like gold. In fact, before the blind date, Xiao had drawn a hard red line for the matchmaker. The annual salary must exceed 1 million RMB, approximate 137,700 US dollars. In her view, this was not harsh, but rather that only an annual salary of 1 million was worthy of her. Girls' requirements for the male side's income level might still be relatively higher. Perhaps my own level hasn't reached that state yet. Regarding Wang Zhao's conditions, Xiao was also very dissatisfied in the subsequent interview, and the sense of alienation in her words was self-evident. Behind this evaluation was her rigid requirement for an annual salary of 1 million. Regarding work, including the salary part, I feel it's probably just average. Right. Seeing all this, the matchmaker quickly arranged another male guest for Xiao Hu, an entrepreneur earning 1 million RMB, approximate 137,700 US dollars a year. Thinking that this time it would meet Xiao Hu's requirements, unexpectedly, her focus shifted from salary to family background. As soon as she sat down, she began a series of questions about the other party's family situation. Is your family condition quite good? My family condition is all right. I feel like maybe your family. Can they give you a relatively large amount of help when you start your business? Facing Xiao Hu's question, the male guest's face instantly darkened. He frankly stated that his entrepreneurial process relied mainly on personal effort and did not rely too much on family support. But such an answer obviously did not satisfy Xiao Hu's expectations, and her questioning did not stop there. Is your family also in business? My mother is in the red wine business. Red wine? Yes, but my father is in a public institution. Yes, working a government department. Only after learning about the jobs of the male guest parents did she show a smile again, clearly indicating that the other party met her criteria for a partner. Xiao Hu did not notice the displeasure revealed by the male guest due to her excessive focus on family background. The two subsequently had a new disagreement on the relationship between love and career. Xiao Hu hoped that love could assist her career, while the male guest insisted on clearly separating feelings and work, unwilling to let the two interfere with each other. I don't really want to put career and feelings together. Right, I feel like my thinking might not be exactly the same as yours. This blind date, where only Xiao, who was enthusiastic, eventually ended up with nothing. The male guest later made it clear that not only was Xiao Hu not his type, but what he minded more was that when she imposed high standards on others, she did not objectively consider the match between herself and those requirements. Actually, there's nothing wrong with discussing conditions on a blind date, but isn't treating a partner as a networking springboard or an economic crutch a bit like putting the cart before the horse.
If you want to find a reliable wife, see if she meets these 4 standards. If this girl meets 3 of the requirements, don't hesitate. If she hits all of them, oh my God, you are truly blessed, you know? In fact, a woman's role in marriage is not just a companion. She is your life partner, so you must consider this carefully. The first point is a strong sense of responsibility. A reliable wife is responsible. She can share the pressures of life and family with you. Whether it is financial issues or household trivialities, she will help you share the burden, which is very important. Second, you must find a woman who is emotionally mature and knows how to communicate. That means she can handle conflicts rationally. When facing disagreements, she won't lose her temper or run away, but will actively communicate to find a solution and handle the problem properly. Third, she must have the ability to think independently and manage herself. She can't just do whatever her bestie says, or whatever short videos say. She needs to have her own interests and goals, be able to communicate with you as an equal and support you. She won't pin all her emotions and energy on short video platforms, on her besties, or entirely on you. Fourth, in marriage, tolerance and respect are too important for men. If she respects your feelings, she will be willing to compromise and understand you. When opinions differ, she won't consider things entirely from her own perspective, but from the perspective of the family. So keep your eyes open when choosing a wife. If you feel there aren't many girls around who meet these conditions, then widen your social circle. You not only need to increase the quantity of choices, but you also need to screen for quality.
当下男女矛盾的根源. The root cause of the current conflict between men and women is that feminists flipped the table, broke the social contract first, but then forbade men from flipping it back. Originally, there were some universal social consensuses between the sexes, such as men earning more money to support the family and women, although earning less, keeping the household in perfect order. Men bearing more economic responsibility, while women giving men more respect. Another example is that after a man helps a woman move house or carry luggage, the woman would usually treat him to a meal to express gratitude. Such consensus was very common in the past. Even without written rules, the vast majority of men and women silently abided by it. But about 5 to 10 years ago, feminists directly flipped the table and stopped playing by the rules. They raised a very harmful slogan: good wife and loving mother is a derogatory term. They believe that being a good wife and loving mother is a disciplinary conditioning of women, and that women should live for themselves. Even if married, they don't need to prioritize the family, and even childbearing can be used as a bargaining chip. These initiatives launched by feminists were affirmed by some women, while most men were in a state of confusion at the time. They had no idea what was happening. They were just suddenly required not only to buy a car and a house and pay a bride price before marriage, but also were not allowed to ask their wives to bear children or manage the household after marriage. Imagine, it was originally a game of give and take, where one side fights monsters to level up and the other side manages logistics, progressing together. But suddenly, one side forcibly demands that you hand over all equipment and gold coins to them, while they take care of nothing, enjoying only rights without bearing responsibilities, and at the same time using public opinion to constantly suppress the other side, claiming it should be this way. But once the male group realizes that their assumption of responsibility is no longer exchanged for a happy family, but rather endless blame and demands, this overwhelming feeling becomes unstoppable. Natural women and traditional feminists are in a frantic civil war. The cause was a natural woman trend that emerged on Zia Hongshu Little Red Book, which advocates completely abandoning female characteristics. In plain English, it's basically cosplaying Sun Xiaochuan, a Chinese internet personality known for his unappealing aesthetic. Now, the traditional feminists couldn't sit still. Looking at these sisters who looked like the Sun Xiaochuan version, they felt uncomfortable all over and immediately posted articles to cut ties, stating bluntly, "If you don't even have female characteristics, what kind of natural woman are you?" Some more outspoken feminist bloggers directly characterized this trend as collective ugliness appreciation. The natural women side was also completely enraged, turning around to expose these cutting ties, people on Zia Hongshu, angrily criticizing traditional feminism as fake feminism, as second-class feminism trapped in the framework of patriarchal aesthetics, yet having the nerve to dictate terms. Both sides exposed each other, and the battle escalated rapidly. Traditional feminists scolded the natural women. "You are stigmatizing women and are here to cause trouble." Natural women retorted to traditional feminists, "We are the high-level feminism, the uglier, the more advanced." To put it plainly, the argument boils down to 2 points. First, traditional feminists feel that feminism must first be female and must have female characteristics. They are afraid that natural women will steal the name of feminism, and even more afraid that in the future, when men mention feminism, the image of Sun Xiaochuan will pop up in their minds. Second, natural feminism believes that the more one resembles Sun Xiaochuan, the more they are true feminists. Only by regarding ugliness as beauty can they break the shackles of male aesthetics. The uglier, the more rebellious. In short, the battle is extremely anxious. Whoever loses is the fake feminist or second-class feminist. It's no wonder traditional feminists are so anxious. Once the title of feminism is completely snatched by the natural women, then wouldn't feminism be approximately equal to Sun Xiaochuan?
In the future, there really will be a lot of people who can't get married. Specifically, looking ahead, among women born around 1990 who are currently single, more than half likely won't be able to get married, and at least 30% of men will remain bachelors. Let me give you a very typical example. Listen to this. There is a woman, born in 91, who works in operations with an annual income of 300,000 to 500,000 renminbi, approximate $41,300 to $68,800 US. She is determined to be an independent woman. She is also quite aloof, feeling that since she is financially independent, she has certain rights, making it hard for her to revert to that little girl state. Her criteria for a partner are very specific: 2 to 4 years older than her, over 1.75 meters tall, a leaner physique with good body control, owns a car and house paid in full, and has a habit of reading. She has no specific requirement for economic income, but it cannot be lower than hers. He shouldn't be addicted to games, shouldn't smoke or drink, and she hopes this person is a partner type for mutual growth. When you hear partner type, you know there's something to it. The contradiction lies here. Independent women have their path, and traditional supportive wives have theirs. There's no conflict. But you can't wear the cloak of an independent woman and want it both ways, wanting the rights but also demanding the man's strength. The ultimate result is that she has been blind dating until she is 35, and the only men willing to meet her now are either divorced with kids or balding. She keeps lowering her standards but still can't find a suitable match. Men with some assets will despise her for being old, bad-tempered, and demanding. Is this example typical? Yet, many people think this way now, especially the younger ones born in 98 and 99. If you think this way, by the time you are 30 or 35, your situation won't be any better than hers. It's not that marriage has abandoned people, but that people are using unrealistic requirements to bar themselves from the door of marriage. In the end, by being picky, everyone turns themselves into that leftover batch.
Sometimes I really feel that being a girl is so hard. I dressed up beautifully today because my mom wanted us to come home for dinner, but every time I talk to her, we can't even exchange half a sentence before clashing, ending up with both of us unhappy to that extent, yet she still insisted on us coming back to eat. Fine, I went back happily. I even filmed several makeup videos today, and then she started lecturing me on why I don't have children. I feel that my fear of marriage is largely due to my parents. She said people all over the world get married and have kids. Why don't you? So, what if I don't have kids? I was a premature baby since I was little, and my health has never been good. I get sick very easily. Others get over a cold in 3 days, but it might take me 10 days or half a month. With a body like this, asking me to have a child, I feel I will definitely have all sorts of problems. I feel I might not even survive giving birth to this child. That's why I don't want to have kids, because giving birth is really painful and terrifying. But she says, why don't you? Everyone else does. And she keeps talking and talking, keeps saying she has lost face, keeps saying it's not worth it. I want to ask, don't other mothers just want their children to be happy and joyful? Why is my mother like this? I've known since I was little that she doesn't love me much because we have 3 kids in our family. I have an older sister and a younger brother. But is my happiness, my health, and my life surprisingly less important than her reputation? I am so sad. Didn't I post a video yesterday and get scolded by others? I didn't feel bad at all arguing with them, but today, I really broke down. Why does Douyin only allow 3 minutes of recording? I was only halfway through crying and it stopped recording. Let's just leave it at that. I look too terrible crying. I have to send this to them exclusively.
Hello everyone, I am Wang Jiagua, and next to me is teacher Shun, a Shanghai local. Today I'm chatting with him. You're a Pudong local, right? Yes, from the Pudong suburbs. You were born in 94, right? Yes, 94, just turned 30 this year. I heard your wife is quite well off. My wife is all right, just a local as well. Her homestead land got demolished and compensated. How many apartments did she get? Her family got 2 medium-sized ones and 1 small one. Hey, aren't you a local too? It seems you didn't get as much from demolition as she did. As a local, mine hasn't been demolished yet, probably because the location isn't good. It's quite remote. I heard that you and your wife got married after meeting only twice. Yes, we dated on our own terms, met online. I felt this girl was quite reliable, so we met up to get to know each other and started developing the relationship. We were both looking towards marriage. In the first month, I went to my parents'-in-law's house, carrying bags big and small to visit them. You went to their house within just 1 month? Maybe I'm just bold. Since my family doesn't have money, I have to be sensible myself. At that time, I really showed my attitude and behavior. I spent half of my monthly money buying gifts for my wife and buying cigarettes, alcohol, and fruit for my parents-in-law. You know, words don't count for much. You have to show it in action. So they felt you were quite sincere and agreed? Yes, definitely sincere. I brought bags of gifts to their door every week. I heard your dad also prepared a betrothal gift for your wife, right? When we got married, my dad prepared 180,000 renminbi, approximate 24,800 US dollars, because as locals, they had saved up some savings for me. Here I have to ask you, do you Shanghai locals, or what we call Shanghai suburbanites, insist on betrothal gifts? Actually, we don't really talk about it. Because at that time, after my dad prepared it and took it to my parents-in-law said, hey, we are not selling our daughter. We just need you young couple to really live your lives well, sincerely and honestly. Then no betrothal gift is needed. Wow, that's very sensible and reasonable. Yes. So in the end, they didn't take your betrothal gift and even gave a house and a car as a dowry? Yeah, that's right. So this house given to you serves as the marital home for you two to live in? Yes, it's tantamount to what we locals call living at both ends, meaning we live here and then we also live at my parents'-in-law's place. Well, I feel you've got it pretty good. You've saved yourself many years of struggle.
After journeying through these bittersweet stories, from the sky-high standards of a 39-year-old woman seeking a perfect husband, to the exhaustion of young men who would rather play video games than date, to weddings staged merely for show, we are forced to confront a harsh reality. Modern love seems to have been turned into a set of KPIs. We live in an era where many are busy looking for a perfect business partner, rather than a true life partner. Women yearn for the label of independence, yet still expect financial coddling. Men desire understanding but retreat in fear of the immense pressure to provide. We are afraid of aging, afraid of being less than our peers, and consequently, we lock ourselves in fantasies of non-existent CEOs or perfect muses. Demands for fully paid houses, luxury cars, and exorbitant salaries have inadvertently become fortress walls, blocking us from genuine emotional connections. But to the audience of Chinese emotion, remember this: marriage is not a destination for one-sided enjoyment. It is a journey of shared struggle and mutual support. A reliable husband or wife is not someone who can give you the most lavish wedding to show off on social media. They are the ones with enough responsibility to shoulder burdens with you during storms, enough tolerance to forgive your mistakes, and enough maturity to communicate instead of giving you the silent treatment. Do not let short videos or the opinions of outsiders define your happiness. Don't wait until you are 35 or 40 to realize you missed out on sincere people just because they weren't rich enough at that specific moment. Let go of the ego, drop the illusions, and look at character and kindness. The most beautiful love is a two-way rush, where both partners run towards each other, rather than one standing still making demands while the other exhausts themselves trying to catch up. I hope you find someone not to perform with for the world, but to grow old with in peace.